we've got a two-part webinar series on on-page SEO. This is what you asked for last week. Now, I've been up half the night to prepare something that I wanted to do, something really, really good, something really, really in depth. And what I decided to do in the end is we're going to build a really epic blog post about on-page SEO. And it's going to take, you know, at least 2 weeks for me to do that, because it takes hours and hours and hours of work to be able to do it. So we need to do this in two parts. And as we do it in two parts, you can dilute it as you feel necessary for what you're doing. If you just want to do sort of quick optimized articles, that's fine. But take what I'm giving you here and, you know, save the slides and save the bookmark the blog post, because what we're going to do here is going to be really, really in-depth. And at the end of this, you're going to have a really good understanding about on-page SEO, and plus some of my unique strategies and tips inbuilt here as well. Okay, so we started to build out a blog post. I've actually been working on it right up until about 20 minutes ago. Let me just see if I can refresh this one. And I've been not able to get even halfway through it yet, because it's going to be such a big post. But what I decided to, the reason I decided to do that this week is because when we've done previous webinar series, like the how to build a private blog network and the press release SEO stuff, the content on those particular blog posts, it's just too much. There's 10 hours of content just with webinar content on one, and there's over 6 hours with another. And therefore it becomes kind of useless content in a way that is not user-friendly anymore. So what I wanted to do was have an example exactly on the page of what we can do. And this way, you know, they can have two webinars down the bottom, and if people want to watch the webinars, then it's going to make a lot more sense. But we can do it like that, and we can try and make the content as useful as possible for as long as possible. Before I get started, let me give you a tip that I've found overnight. My rankings tanked overnight, and the reason is that I got my WordPress coder to add some of the free tools from commandotubetools.com, and he changed the URLs. He put them as posts instead of pages, and my rankings tanked overnight. I knew as soon as I seen it, when I seen what he had done, I went immediately to check it, and I think we were on a bit page 3 for the keyword SEO training, and now I can't be found, just because of something as simple as that. So be very, very careful when you get people working on your WordPress sites who are not SEO guys, because it really, really can damage you, and it's going to take me at least, you know, 2 or 3 hours work to correct what's been done and do 301 redirects and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I can pull it back pretty quickly. But we were building up nicely for a very, very good keyword, and one that I really wanted to get, and now I just feel a little bit upset with myself that I didn't sort of manage the situation properly. So there's a lesson to be learned there about the on-site SEO before we get into the on-page stuff. Okay, so anyway, let's cover what we're going to cover today. So that the SEO training webinars are going to be in 2 parts over 2 weeks. We will do one today, and we will do another one next Sunday night. Okay, and we're going to create an epic blog post on the way. Okay, and when we create that, it's going to be quite a large blog post, but it's going to be really, really in-depth, and it's going to be a great resource for you to use. Okay, I'm going to reveal ways to create well-optimized articles while being user-friendly as well. And I've actually created in the resources tab here, if you've taken the link from a chat box, if you go into the resources here, you can see that we have got WordPress article structure HTML file, and you can just simply go and add that. Okay, so this is what you will see in your TXT file, and if you click it over to visual, if you put it into a draft post and put it into visual, this is the way I recommend that you do it. Okay, and this is making it user friendly. At the same time, it is making it really, really good for SEO, because there's multiple opportunities here to get you related keywords, to get your main keywords, and, you know, just to make it really good, useful content as well, and so that it starts to look something like this. I thought I'd taken this contents thing away there, but I must have forgot to remove it. It's going to look something like this. So we got the image first and stuff like that, and you can see as we're coming down that it's easy to read, but I need to reformat some of the H2s are too big and the H3s, etc. But we'll sort of fix that out. This will depend, I mean, when you're using things like the H2 and H3, it will depend on your theme. Some themes, the H2 looks quite reasonable. Sometimes it looks like an H1, so you just have to adjust it to fit your own. Okay. So anyway, let's carry on. So these type of epic blog posts take hours and hours and hours to do. I mean, it really takes a long time. I started doing this about 4 p.m. yesterday my time. It's now what 8 a.m. my time, and I think I've had about a 4-hour break in between planning for the webinar and doing this kind of stuff in the background. So that gives you an idea of the amount of work that's needed to be able to create something like this. But at the end, we're going to have something really, really good. But I haven't done anything like this for about 2 years at least, I think. I think the last time I did this, it was for an offline client, and that was probably more than 2 years ago. So it should be a fun experiment, and we will see how we're ranking by the end. And we'll probably do a third webinar, which will not be just about the on-page SEO, but it will be about promoting your blog post. And it's not just the SEO stuff that we're using to promote the blog post. I'm going to share with you some resources that I've been looking into in the past week for getting our content syndicated by other people in our niche. Okay, so it can be in any niche at all. And getting these people to either give you commenting, to syndicate your content, to take your infographics and stuff like that, that can be really, really beneficial. And it's not always just about the SEO stuff. To be able to get traffic and to be able to get some relevancy built in, so that you can improve your rankings while you're doing that as well. Okay. So we're going to go really in depth over the 2 weeks. It's going to be specific for WordPress SEO because I'm building this blog post in WordPress SEO, in WordPress, and we're using SEO plugins and stuff like that. It's still relevant for other platforms if you're using Drupal or just plain HTML. The only thing is you can't use the WordPress plugins, of course, but a lot of this stuff is relevant to what you're doing anyway when we're talking about using H tags. Some of the tips and tricks I'm going to show you for images and videos and stuff like that. Okay, so it's still very, very relevant, and you can just delete as you see fit for your own content, but I wanted to do a full out blog post, an epic one, and see how it goes from there. We've also got a guest coming in, maybe the last sort of 15-20 minutes, a guy called Sean Kelly from Australia, and he is offering us optimized articles. Okay, and we'll get Sean to talk about that in the sort of last 15-20 minutes, and he can explain a little bit about how he creates articles, and he's got a really, really crazy low prices as well. Okay. And finally, we do need to get some social shares for this, because this is going to be a post that I really do want to rank. So I would really appreciate it if you could take a minute and give us some social shares, and then we can sort of work on this together and we can see the impact of creating something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to put in a chat box here. If you can just give us Google +1, a tweet, whatever, we would really, really appreciate it. The link is now in the chat box. Okay, so anyway, let's get straight into it. Okay, so let's start from beginning. Before we even get into this stuff here about optimizing URLs and stuff like that, what I've been doing since yesterday is I've been looking at the keywords and the keyword structures. Now, I'm not going to go deep in depth with the keyword stuff, because we're going to go more in depth with the on-page stuff, but you do have to understand some basics. Okay, now there's a whole bunch of keyword tools out there, and some of them are good. Thank you, Avast. I lost my train of thought there with that Avast thing popping up. Some keyword tools are really, really good, really useful. And what I find is, I keep coming back to this one tool here called Jaxi. It's just really, really fast, and it's really simple to use as well. And it gives me a whole bunch of keywords, like literally in seconds. I've seen some other keyword tools. We were just talking about keyword canine before we started the webinar, and that thing is clunky, it's expensive, and it never seems to work for me. And yet they're charging something like $197 for a year. This one is a monthly. It costs $47 a month, If you just go to jaxi.com, you might even be able to get a free trial with them. But for this version that I'm using, it's extremely fast, and it is you know, it's really relevant kind of keywords that we get back. So I use this to be able to pick up keywords that I want to use, okay, within my articles. Inside your slide as well, if you go over to the last page as well, you will see that the second bullet point here says on-page SEO planner. Okay, so I like to try to make it as easy as possible for you. And you can see here that I've tried to map it out so that by the time you're ready to put your article into WordPress, you've got a whole bunch of stuff just ready that you can more or less do it pretty quickly. But it does take a bit of preparation and planning if you want to do something kind of epic like this. What you will also see in here is we got question ideas, okay, and these question ideas are ideal for doing something like paragraph headlines. If I can back over here and I start to come down, you can see that we've got some paragraph headlines beginning down here, okay, and we can, you know, we can get ideas for these kind of sub headlines and things from using this this sort of strategy. The reason I like this is because this is the way that the search is going right now. This is the way people are actually searching because they're doing things on their mobile phones and stuff like that. So this is becoming more and more relevant all the time. And the tool I used to do that was a little tool called Keyword XP. And there's a link there in the slides as well. And you can see here, you can put in some questions and you can put in a C keywords. You can click on related questions in here and it gives you a whole bunch of related questions, and simply just need to copy it and you can put that into your keyword planner as well, okay, or your article planner as well. And that can give you a whole bunch of really good things, you know, ideas to write about. And I would say right now, don't worry about the search volumes for this kind of stuff. For these kind of questions and things like that, you want to use them sparingly, but you do want to add some value. And by adding these kind of things in there, you can get picked up in the search engines. But you're thinking about user-friendly content when you're using these, and not just the search volumes. Okay, you're just trying to make your content as friendly as possible, as well as building in some on-page SEO elements to it. Okay, so that's really all I want to cover about the keywords right now, except for when we're using Google Keyword Planner. You've probably seen the videos that I've done using the grouped keywords, and if we come over here, if I put into the Keyword Planner on-page SEO and click on the Get Ideas, then I can come over to the Add Group Ideas. Now, I'm not getting a lot in here because I actually did the first one with a whole bunch of those how-to questions that I grabbed from Keyword XP. But what you can do is you can see the most relevant one that is in the keyword groups. In this situation, it would be this one called Page SEO. And if I just expand on that, you can see in here we got questions like what is on-page SEO, SEO on-page, etc. Now, what you want to do from these is take what I call the modifiers. Okay, so your modifiers would be things like what is. Your modifier in here might be Moz as well. If you want to do an outbound link, that's perfect. 2014 is a modifier. Basics is a modifier. Tutorial is a modifier. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense to you, because if we can sprinkle in these modifiers, then we don't need to think about, you know, putting every single variation of this. I think there's 11 here. We don't want to put all 11 in here, but you can find ways that you can put some of them in, but make sure that you've got some of those modifiers in. And it comes back to that analogy that I keep telling you almost every week. It's like you know, a guy just saying to a waiter in a restaurant, I can't remember what the dish is called, but I know that it's got this, 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 and this ingredients in it. And the waiter says, oh yeah, you're talking about such and such a dish. Okay, and you know, I've been trying to explain that concept for years now, and I'm not sure that people are really grasping it for you know, how relevant it is today, because as we start to use anchor text that is more generic, things like click here and read more and anthonyhayes.me.com or whatever, you know, all those kind of branding kind of keywords, the only way that Google can know what your content is about is by what you have got on your on-page stuff. Okay, so it's really, really important now, even more so than ever before. So using those modifiers and using these kind of keywords instead of a keyword density. Whereas we used to, for example, if I wanted to do an article maybe about 4 years ago and it was about on-page SEO, my keyword density would be about on-page SEO maybe between 3 and 5%. We can't do that anymore. And Panda took care of that. They just basically said that's shit content, and quite rightly. So what we can do is that we can build in, you know, the variations, the LSI, the related kind of keywords here, and we can build in those modifiers. And by doing that, then we're adding into the article what Google will recognize is, you know, related to that particular main target keyword search term. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Is there any questions up to this point, Robert? Or is everybody kind of clear? So that we've kind of covered all we need to cover right now for the keywords. We've covered it, you know, several times in recent webinars, so I don't want to go too deep into it again.
Lee Harden is asking for a link to that file you showed earlier.
This one here, it's in the slide, Lee, if you go to the end one. And it's the second one. If you go to the slide in here, the slides link is in the chat box. Okay, I'll put it in there one more time. In the chat box. Is there any other questions? Any questions about the keyword stuff before we get into the on-page optimization stuff?
No questions, Tony.
Right, okay, good. They should pretty much understand a lot of what that stuff is. We covered it in detail for Web 2.0 Commando. We covered it with the article optimization one that we did a couple of weeks back as well. So the keywords should be second nature to you, at least for understanding it so far, okay? So anyway, let's cover some basics about on-page SEO. I've got my two dogs outside the door and they're playing with each other, so I hope you can't hear it. They're obviously pulling at something together. Right, so optimizing URL for search engines. Now there's two ways that we can do this. We can do this by using permalinks that is category post name. Okay, so if I come over here, you can see in here, let me just come down. If I go into my permalinks over here, you can see that you can either use in your custom structure category post name. Okay, I'm going to put that into the chat box for anybody who doesn't know how to do this. I'll just undo that. I prefer to use this simply because I like to work with a silo structure. If you're not working with the silo structure, you might want to use just the post name. Okay, I prefer. I know it makes the URL longer, but I prefer to use that because it just gives me a better structure in my website. So for example, this blog post here that I'm doing is tutorials, webinars, and then 21 on-page optimization techniques. Now that kind of makes that a little bit longer, but I've got my on-page SEO keyword in here, my on-page SEO techniques keyword in here pretty early, which is okay. Ideally you want to have just one category structure there, and I thought I had done that with a plugin that I use. There's a plugin that I used, I'll just show you quickly. Let's see, what's it called again? Which you will find really, really useful if you are using the category structure. And it is called, just bear with me. I'll just find it. Where did it go? You can always find these things quickly when you're not on a live webinar, I guess. Where's the category one? Can you see it, Robert? Am I scribbling past it here? I've got it in here somewhere, but I've forgotten the name of it. No, I'm going to have to come back to that in a bit.
Sorry, I was...
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to have to come back to it. Sorry, guys, I'm really going to have to come back to it. I can't remember the name. I just added it a few days ago. I might even have it inside this blog post or somewhere. Anyway, you can use this plugin. I'll show you later. But what you can do here is you can click on the permalink, even if it's like about me, contact my story, for example. You can click on the permalink here, and that is what's going to be. So, for example, if I wanted to make it my story and I clicked on the permalink, I would not have the about me /my story, for example. Okay, I'll put that link into the slide a little bit later. I'm sorry, I should have had that prepared before. But that makes it a lot shorter to be able to do, and that's what I thought I had done in here. So, but anyway, it's still not a big deal. I've got my keyword in early, and what you want to do with your title when you come into Yoast is you want to get your keyword in as early as possible. Okay, when we come down here, you can see I've got my on-page SEO techniques keyword in here pretty early on, as quickly as I could. At the same time, with the title, I'm making it, you know, like a list type of title, because that works really, really well. And it creates a curiosity, or it creates the interest enough for people to want to click through on it as well. Okay. Now, your title is not the same as your headline. Your headline can be completely different, but what I do with the headlines usually is I expand on them from the title, because we can use more, we can sort of use more characters inside the blog post. So your title and your headline is two different things. Your headline up here is what people will see when they come into your blog, okay, and your title down here is what people are going to see when you're in the search engines, okay, and the description underneath that as well is what they will see in the search engines. Now, I really liked using Yoast. Now, I didn't use it for a long time. I used to use the Ultimate SEO plugin, but the more I got into Yoast, and I started to see the things it's got that no other plugin really does have, is, you know, it just makes it really different class from anything else. The other good thing with Yoast as well is that you got this snippet review in here, preview in here, which makes it really, really easy to see what your blog post is going to look like, and it will bold your keywords as well. So it's, if you don't use Yoast, you can use the SEO Morpho snippet tool, which is at SEOmorpho.com. Okay, Robert covered that in last week's webinar too. But the good thing as well with Yoast is you can integrate with Facebook, and you can integrate with Google+, and of course you've got more keywords, more characters you can use in here, sorry, and you can use a longer description, and it will post into those particular sites as well, if you've got your settings done properly. Okay, so for the title, try and keep it short, but up to you whether you want to use the category post name. I prefer to use that because I'm working with a silo structure. If you look at some other people though, let's take a look at this guy over here, this guy Brian Dean. This is really worth checking out. Brian's got a really brilliant blog called Backlinko. He does some things that are very, very unique. It's definitely worth checking out. But if you look at his on-page SEO article, which he basically got ranking very, very quickly, and most of that was done by getting influencers to sort of redistribute or to retweet, to do some social sharing and stuff like that, which in turn led to a lot of traffic, which probably in turn led to a lot of backlinks. So he earned his backlinks here. He didn't buy them. He didn't do anything like that. He actually earned his backlinks, and he's got some fantastic training here. But if you look at his URL, he's kept it as short as possible. Okay, and he's just put backlinko.com/on-page SEO. And also in here you will see he's got a really good infographic. We'll cover that in just a few minutes as well, because I've got a really good way that we can use these as part of the tips and tricks in this particular webinar series. Okay, so your titles, your titles and your headlines completely different. Try and keep the URL short, or if it cannot be short, then get your keyword in as early as possible. Okay, images. This is what I was talking about just a second ago, how to use images with the sneaky SEO advantage. Okay, when we're doing the images like I've got in here, I just scroll up the top here. What I've done is I've gone into the file, the properties, and I've used, let me just show you quickly. If I come in here, and I go to properties, it has to be a JPEG file. Okay, and you can go into the details section here, and it allows us to put in stuff like titles and subjects and stuff like that. Okay, it must have been the other one that I used. But you can put in titles, you can put in subjects, you can give yourself a rating, you can put in tags, and you can put in the comments in here as well. Now, it does give you some extra optimization, and I'm sure it's a big part of what Michael Taggart did when he did his webinar with us a few months back. If you remember, we did the webinar for Newswire. What he did is he took the whole press release and he put it into the comment section. What I tend to do is I go and find a really good blog post from an authority source, and I copy and paste the whole lot of that blog post and I put it into the comments in here. For the tags and stuff, try and keep them as relevant as possible. You can use things like the keywords in here, how to do it, how to learn it, on-page SEO, all that kind of stuff. These are perfect for that, okay? And that gives you a little bit extra boost. So by doing that, then you're optimizing your article even more, okay? Now, what I mentioned before with the infographics, you will find there's a whole bunch of infographics where people will give you the opportunity like this to just copy and paste and put that into your blog post. Okay, so I could put that into my blog post for now, and it would give some additional value to this particular post. And I could use this as my outbound link. Okay, images can be outbound link as well. You can be sneaky about it. And not have to just link out directly to places like Wikipedia and stuff like that. I don't particularly like using Wikipedia anymore for the outbound links. It just thinks of I'm trying to optimize my content kind of thing. I rather go and look at places like BuzzSumo, look for the content that's being most shared, and take some of that content and look at the way they have done it. And those are outbound authority links in their own right, just because of the social proof that they have got. So if you look at buzzsumo.com, you can search for any keyword and it will give you you know, the most shared content on social media, and you can use that for your outbound link. But there's nothing wrong with using an article, with using a video, which may be from, you know, an authority kind of YouTube channel or something like that for your outbound link, or an image as well. So for example, in this blog post, I could use Brian's on-page SEO infographic here, and that would be my outbound link, okay? But I'm not going to do that, not this week anyway. What I'm going to do at the end of creating this blog post, once I've got it nicely formatted and everything, I'm going to hire someone to create a really good infographic. Then what I'm going to do is a little bit sneaky. I'm going to put it on some, I'm going to buy some links, okay, from other relevant blog posts, okay, some other niche relevant blogs. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to do some blogger outreach, and whoever has got that particular blog post, that particular infographic that I think is the most relevant or the most authoritative, I'm going to copy the link from there and put it back into here, okay? So then my outbound link will be for my own content, but coming from an authority site, ideally, okay? That's what we're going to try and attempt to do, okay? So that way I think we can take a, you know, it's a really sneaky way to do it, but we can take a major SEO advantage by doing that at the same time, okay? The next thing is to use a sub-headline. Now, when you're using a sub-headline, come over here, it should ideally back up what the claims are in your particular article. Okay, so if I've got 21 tips for on-page SEO for WordPress, then this is just simply backing it up. But what I'm doing in here is I'm able to do what I call the 1.5 rule. Okay, 1.5 rule being get your keyword in here, okay, but have another related type of keyword in here as well. I call that the 1.5 rule. That's been around for many years, but you know, people have got their own different variations of that, where they might just try to put some other things like on page, for example, at the end. I tend to try to do it with related keywords, or very closely sort of tied keywords that are LSI related, to make that 1.5 rule. So this way I'm been able to do it. So I've got my main keyword in here, on page SEO. It's pretty early, and also I've got another variation, which is optimization. Okay, so you can use your H2 pretty early, so that when people come into your blog post, if this thing wasn't there in the way, what we would see is probably the social media feather, share links, and then you would have your image, which makes it user friendly, and then we would have our H2, which is optimized as well. And then we can do one paragraph in here, which you want to get your keyword in as early as possible. You can see I've got on-page SEO in here really early, and we want to be able to put that also at the end when we come into the end of the sort of last sentence, last paragraph. Now what I've done is put part 2 of 21 on-page SEO techniques for WordPress coming soon. So I've got my keyword in here in the very last sentence as well. Okay. Now it's okay to do things like bolding as well. It's a thing that we used to do quite a lot before. We used to do bold and underline and italic and stuff like that. I think doing the underline and the italic is just getting a little bit into the over-optimization stuff. But it's okay to bold sometimes, but just maybe do it maximum 2 or 3 times within your article. And if you're choosing bold, then don't do the other 2, because it just, it does start to creep into over-optimization. And if you do use the bold, then use related keywords to bold as well. So maybe do one for your main keyword and do one for a kind of related keywords. So you can see down here, where did I put it? I've got one. No, I haven't. I had previously this was bolding this particular keyword phrase here, on-page SEO techniques, and it was also bolding this one that said optimizing, but I changed the color on it, so it's not bolding anymore for some reason. All right. So this way, what we're doing then is we're just telling Google that this keyword is important, or this is something I want to emphasize to my readers. I'm making it user-friendly so that I'm emphasizing this particular point, and so that it's going to give a little bit more weight. How much weight it gives these days, I don't know, but it's still not a bad thing to do, as long as you don't overdo it, okay? So the bullet points, this is something that I've been trying to get a plugin done so that we can create article sort of structures like the one I just gave you in the HTML file. Now if I come back over here, what you will see is that after my H2 and my sort of first paragraph description, then I'm doing another H2 in here, which should really be an H3 because of the sheer size of this particular font on my theme. But what we're doing then is we're doing some bullet points to tell people what they're going to find in the article, okay? And there's 2 reasons for that. First, it's user-friendly. Secondly, it's an opportunity for us to sprinkle our keywords and stuff in here as well. So you will see just about every single one of these I'm using keywords that are relevant: optimizing, search engines, SEO. You can see every single one I'm using stuff that is relevant to on-page SEO, things like H tags, keywords, etc., etc. It gives us the opportunity there to build a relevancy. At the same time, we are writing in a way that's user-friendly as well, so it's really friendly user-friendly content. Okay, and that way we can build our article, starting off really, really well, where we're giving the relevancy of the content, we're making it user-friendly, and we've already done a bunch of on-page optimization by the time we've come to this point here. Okay, so you can see how long this blog post is actually going to be. It's going to take a bit of time to build all of that out, but at the end, it's going to be, very, very good content, very, very good user-friendly content at that. Okay. The next point is using short paragraphs with the optimized headlines. This is to make it easy to read. Now, the way I've got this formatted right now, you're not seeing it properly because I should really be using H2 tags. I should be making this font a little bit smaller. But as we come down here, things like the compelling headline thing in here that I'm describing about compelling headlines, it should really be in a way that it's not looking like a main headline, but just as a sub-headline over here. And it gives us the opportunity to put another paragraph. Now, when you're doing this, what I was playing around with this morning before we came on the webinar, I was going back into the Google Planner and taking things like how to write compelling headlines for SEO and putting that seed keyword into the Google Planner and looking for the grouped keywords that would be around that particular search term. So when I'm doing my sub-headlines, I can be doing those modifiers. I can be sprinkling in those grouped keywords within each sub-headline as well, which is maybe, it might be too clever a way to do it because it might take the emphasis from the actual SEO article or the topic of the article. It might just spread it a little bit too thin, but it's definitely worth testing and experimenting with. So I was looking at that this morning, but I just didn't have enough time to be able to put all this together before the webinar, so I have to revisit it. But if you can find ways to do that, where you can find relevant keywords within those group keywords for your subheadlines, then that makes it even stronger in my opinion. But it does have to be tested. It's just right now an idea that I think should work in theory, but until we test it, we don't really know. Okay. Robert, is there any questions coming in so far before we go further? I need a drink.
There's a couple of people mentioned that they couldn't share with your social buttons, so they're choosing the ones at the top of your page. So I sent them to the bottom of the page.
Yeah, I think I might have deleted my social media feather one by accident. I meant to delete the other one with the content. Anyway, I'll do that a little bit later, guys. It's too late for that now.
Andy Deering would like to know if you're using a WordPress plugin for image optimization.
No, what I'm using for images is basically I've got Max CDM where I'm uploading the images to so that we can reduce the file size in there, and I'm just doing some manual optimization once you get it in, and once you get it into once you pull it into your media files. What I'm also doing as well is I'm using a media category plugin. So in the media folder, we have things like images, we have things like audio, we have things like video. I just use the images. I don't use video and audio. I take my video from YouTube. I just find it a lot simpler to do it that way. A lot of people would disagree with that, and good for them. I've never found any sort of negative stuff with the SEO for that, and I just like the ease of it without having to slow down my site as well. Okay, so what I do then is I use the media category plugin to be able to do that. What I'll do at the end, guys, for next week, we'll have a list of all the plugins I've got on my site, okay, the ones that are specific to on-page SEO, and we'll put them there for you to be able to use as well. So any others?
No more questions.
All right, okay. Okay, let's kick on. Okay, so by using the short paragraphs with the optimized headlines, it's easier for people to read. Now, this is not probably the best example because I was just running against the clock, but by the time, excuse me, by the time I finish this will have a really nice flow to it. It will be really nice to be able to go in and see, and it won't look so daunting and disorganized as what it does now. So by the time I finish this, it will look like a really easy to read article and full of useful content with the subheadlines in here as well. Now, what I intend to do as well when I'm doing this is to use some of these questions in there as well as subheadlines. I just think, you know, pick out maybe 2 or 3 of these, and, you know, you can sprinkle them in at different places. For example, how to learn on-page SEO. That could be midway through. How to do it on-page SEO on WordPress. It could be sprinkled throughout either the content under the headlines, or we can actually just make a little paragraph about that particular content. So there's various ways that we can use this, and there's no sort of hard and fast drill. What I do suggest is you look at these kind of keywords and you pick what you think is most relevant, what you think is most user-friendly, and this will definitely help, because when you're answering questions like this, when you're providing solutions like this, people are more likely to stay around and read your blog post a little bit longer as well. Now, personally, you know, I've been looking at what other people have been doing, like people like Brian Dean, for example. He's saying use minimum 1,500 words. I've been looking at people like Matthew Woodward, who I got a huge amount of respect for. That guy is absolutely very, very, very good for SEO. And if you're not following him, you really, really should be. But, you know, sometimes when I go to see these kind of epic blog posts, I click away immediately. I think I haven't got time for that. I really don't have time for that, and all I want is the bullet points, which is why I'm suggesting that we build in bullet points in there so that people can see immediately what you're going to be able to learn, okay, and the things that you're going to be covering. And that way, you know, you've got a better chance to keep people in the article from the beginning right through to the end of the article, especially if you're doing longer sort of blog posts. But a lot of times when I see these kind of blog posts, and when I'm on Twitter, for example, and you got all these really good headlines coming through, and people are sharing this content, and other people are resharing it, and they're trying to find great content for their followers. It gets a little bit monotonous, because when you're looking at it, You know, got 5 ways to do this with LinkedIn and 3 ways to do that for SEO and 2 ways to do this and my top 5 strategies for this and that. You could spend, you know, a year going through just 1 day's of content, 1 day's content in Twitter, and nobody's got time for it. So having these bullet points in there actually gives you a far better chance, if people do click through, to keep them on your content. Okay, and I really recommend that you do that. Okay, the other way you can do it is what I was testing this morning with this one here, which is just simply a plugin, and you can find a plugin that will give you the sort of table of contents. If you type into WordPress plugin repository table of contents, you will find 2 or 3 of these, and you can basically put these in the side or you can put them at the top, and they should have, the one I had before had a little button there that said hide, and you can just get rid of them. I thought I had actually deleted that and removed that before the webinar, but I must have removed the social media one instead by accident. Okay, but by being able to do these bullet points, I mean, I can't emphasize enough how important I think this is, especially if you can make them compelling as well, because when people read that, they think, oh yeah, I want to learn that. What is the free, you know, what is the free top tips for adding internal links easily, those kind of things. So what you're promising here, it makes it easier to deliver as well, and it keeps you on track too. Okay, let's come back over. Yeah, 3 ways that we can take advantage for video for SEO. The first way is obviously being able to curate your own content, okay, and we can use things like video sitemaps. You can get free video sitemaps. I think there's a guy called something Argowal. Just go over to the plugins quickly. I should be able to find that one. Yeah, Google XML sitemap for videos. You can see this guy, Ami Argowal. It's free and it works perfectly well. There's other paid versions that might do a little bit more, but I've never found anything negative about this, and it does work actually quite well if you're using the YouTube videos, okay? And he's got a bunch of these XML sitemaps, okay? So definitely make sure you're using video sitemap, whether it's free or premium. If you're using video on your site, which you really should be, because we do need that multimedia content. We want to have minimum 1 image and 1 video. But what's really interesting about using the videos is that we can take outbound links. So for example, if I want to do something about on-page optimization like I'm doing here, there's nothing wrong with me adding an additional video that might come from Whiteboard Friday or something like that, where it's a real authority kind of you know, content, and using that for my outbound link as well. Okay, so by being able to do that is building that relevancy. But a third way to do this really well, if you want to just do it for SEO purposes and for not much else, is to put in some playlists that are built around that particular keyword as well. So you can even create your own and have your own video first. And if you've got the playlist creator, the SEO playlist creator software from us, which you can get for free if you go into anthonyhayes.me main site, you can see under free SEO tools, we've got an SEO playlist creator for YouTube. You can do that as well, but I would put that at the very end of your blog post, because it's not really going to be something that your users are going to be able to sort of easily consume, just because of the sheer amount of content that can be there. But with the software, what you can do is you can say, you know, I want to take 5 videos, put your own video URL in there, and you can go and choose the top 5 ranking YouTube videos, but your video will be first in the playlist, which basically is building the relevancy for your video with that particular keyword phrase. And it's also hijacking on the authority of them as well. So that's the third way you can do that, but I would probably not do that too often. I just don't think it's got any other purpose apart from SEO. Nobody's going to go through the videos, and it's really entirely up to you whether you want to do sort of quick optimization article, then I would use it. If you're doing something that's going to be really useful content for users, then I would definitely not do it, okay? But it is the third way that you can use it, okay? Using the content lockers, now this is really important as far as I'm concerned. I've seen a massive rise in social shares just by using content lockers. For example, we did a webinar, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. I think we had something like 26 shares. When I put the content locker to go and get the slide, it increased to about 60 or 70 shares. within about 48 hours, okay, just by having that content locker in there. So that's got some additional SEO benefits, because with the Hummingbird update, we've kind of heard from authority people like Moz and Search Engine Land that Google basically are being able to, part of the Hummingbird was basically to be able to read social signals, okay, because the way that search is going right now, the way that the backlinks and stuff is being used, is probably going to change. Well, I'm not saying backlinks are going to be dead, but it will change, and we'll start to go into other areas. One of those areas is definitely going to be things like the social sharing and the interactivity, okay? So you want to force the social shares as much as you can. And by using the social locker, which I'm sure you can find a free one in the WordPress repository, you'll be able to do that quite easily. And I think we've actually got a social locker, and I've got a whole bunch of plugins that actually just needs to be rebranded that I purchased the source code for. So if anybody knows any WordPress coders that's got some time in their hands, let me know and I can hire them just for that particular purpose. But I'm sure you can find some social lockers in the WordPress repository for free. Otherwise, if you go over to, I think it's Theme Forest, you'll be able to find a bunch of plugins that do that over there, and they're very, very easy to use as well. But the social signals coming from people sharing also gives you the possibility of getting some traffic as well, okay? Well, so that it's kind of relevant, because people that come into to get some content that is being locked, they are probably SEO people. They've probably got colleagues on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google Plus that are into SEO as well. Whereas if you compare it to using a WordPress plugin that sort of belongs to a social sharing network, for example, a lot of the times they won't be real accounts, so there's no real value as far as the traffic and the relevancy once they're getting posted. All you're getting at that particular point is just the numbers of social shares. But when it's real people actually coming in and doing it, which you can force with the social lockers, then you've got a real possibility of getting some traffic and also getting on the radar of maybe some of the sort of influencers within your niche as well. Okay, I did notice I think it was last week or week before, I got a +1 from SEM Rush for one of my IFTTT SEO videos, which kind of surprised me, because the video was actually how to hijack the authority sort of influencer content and basically spam web to sites with their content, but put a link into our own content as well at the same time, and they actually +1'd it. So. And that was a bit of a surprise. Maybe they just liked the headline. I don't think they would have done it if they had actually seen what I was teaching in that particular video. Anyway, always have a call to action. This is not really on-page SEO stuff. This is just good marketing, and it should be on every piece of content that you've got. Okay, whether it's to force people to do the social shares with the social locker, or whether it's to get people to opt in, or whether it's to maybe your content is for an affiliate product. If you're doing things like pre-sale pages, you will find that they actually convert far, far better. And this is one of the things like we product creators, we talk about quite a lot. I've got some JV groups where I talk to other guys that make products. And we talk about what the way we promote to our lists as well. And, the thing that keeps coming up again and again and again is the people that when they're doing sort of promotions for other people, when they're doing those pre-sale pages, when they've got the bonuses, when they've done the videos of how that particular tool works, they're finding their conversions are up by as much as, 50 to 75%. Those pre-sale pages work really, really well. So even if you're doing an affiliate product, an affiliate promotion, think about doing a pre-sale page. Really seriously think about it, because if you can build that list while you're doing it, then it's going to have other advantages as well, because as well as being able to remarket to these people, you can cookie them for retargeting, and also you can give them a whole bunch more information than what you might be able to do, for example, in a YouTube video, because your YouTube video might be a lot too long by that time that people just won't watch to the end. But if you have a short video and you have them going to a pre-sale page where you can emphasize the benefits in a way that's just easier to read, then you're able to convert that sale much, much more effectively as well. So always think about the call to action, but you need to know what is the purpose of your content. Is it for local lead generation, for example? Is it an AdSense site, or is it for pre-selling an affiliate product, or are you just sending people direct to a sales page, for example, from a video? Do you think that's going to work as well as having a pre-sale page where you can build a list? It's probably not, okay? If they were going to click that link anyway, they would have clicked it, and that way you've got the opportunity to build a list, you've got the opportunity to cookie them for the retargeting, and you've got the opportunity to be able to lay out why they should buy that particular product in a much more easier to sort of consume way, so that they can just see, you know, bullet points of what a product can do, which you can't really do with a video, because nobody really clicks through on YouTube descriptions. I never do. If I see a link in the sort of top 3 lines, I'll click the link to go to the sales page, for example. But if you send them instead over to a pre-sale page, you've got far more advantages, and I don't think you're going to lose any sales. I think over time you will gain sales because you've got those people onto your email list, and you can sort of remarket to them again and again. Okay. Let me just take a drink. Is there any questions right now?
There was somebody asking about Content Locker earlier. That's about it.
Yeah, the Content Locker, if you go over to, is it Envato or ThemeForest, they're all connected. Just go to themeforest.com and you will see that they've got some, menu tabs, and you will see for WordPress, and just search in there for Social Locker. It does make a massive difference. Really does make a big difference having that there. And you will find all the top marketers using it now. So there's a reason for it. Before I didn't want to use it because I didn't want to force people to do stuff. But you know, once you tried it and you see that you've done it, you're able to put a sort of little message before they click on those share buttons, for example. And what I did with mine, I think that week, what I did is like, please help support me with my, you know, my free content, stuff like that, so that I kind of, you know, I made it friendly, asking for that social share, rather than just this content is locked. If you want to get the content, you're going to have to click that button. Just put a little sort of 1 or 2 sentence explanation saying, like, you know, I think this free content is really good. People will charge you hundreds of dollars other places for it. Help us, help support us by giving us a social share, and you're more likely to get more shares just by having that kind of sort of sentence in there, that kind of request in there. Any more?
No more questions.
Okay. Okay, we'll bring...
Lula's asking a question. Here's one.
Okay.
On the pre-sale page, what do you ask for? Email, name, phone number?
No. For an affiliate product, you don't want the telephone number. All you want to do is make it as easy as possible. You want to give them a reason to opt in, so you need to give them something relevant to what you're pre-selling. Okay. For example, if I am pre-selling, let's just take one of my products because I'm more familiar with them. Say, for example, I am pre-selling my IFTTT Backlink Commando, then I've already got a tool there that I can give out. Okay, I've got a free version which doesn't have the account creator. It's only got one SEO strategy built in. You know, it just gives them something really relevant. If it's about on-page SEO, for example, like we're building with this blog post, then it could be something as simple as, you know, get the sort of step-by-step SEO checklist, a 21-step checklist, for example. Okay, just make it really relevant to that particular offer. You don't want to make it hard for them to do. You don't want a telephone number. You just want even just an email. I've seen people using just emails. If you look at some of the guys that are the top list builders around, I mean, really the top list builders around, they're not really using SEO so much. They don't give a crap about the SEO side. If you look at people like Noah Kagan, for example, from BuzzSumo, and he's had a whole bunch of those sumo type of products. He was behind mint.com as well. And, you know, what they wanted, for example, to get 200,000 opt-ins from mint.com. I think they got something like 2 million in the end. And they basically optimize how to get people to opt in. And what they do is simply when you go to their website, you don't get anywhere until you give them an email address. But they don't give a crap about the SEO in the same way that we do, so we can't probably get away with that in the same way. But that's what these guys do. They actually force people to give them that email address, and it's just simply an email address. It's not a name. Personally, I like to use the name, or at least get the first name with an email address, so that when I'm doing an email going out to my list, I can personalize it. I can, put the first name, fix, shortcode into Aweber so that it says something like Dear Simon, something like that, or Hi Simon, or something like that. Okay, so I prefer just to use the email and the first name, or the name, just the name, whole name. Any more? Okay, let's click on. We'll bring Sean. Sean, we'll bring you in about 15 minutes, about 10 minutes, I think, from now. Okay, so using the social locker, we covered that. Call to action, really, really, really important. I can't emphasize that enough. Otherwise, what's the point of doing new content? At the end of the day, we're doing SEO to get traffic, and you've got to maximize that traffic. You want to be able to remarket to them. That's internet marketing 101. If you're not doing that, then you're missing out on the whole point of internet marketing, because you've got to be able to do that. You've got to be doing that with, with every piece of content. Your goal should always be to get people to take another step, to have give them a call to action. If you're not doing that, then you're not understanding internet marketing basics. Okay. Adding outbound links. I kind of covered some of this. The outbound links, what I was going to mention here is using the infographics from other people, so that you've not got sort of like a naked anchor text link, a naked or an anchor text link, okay? But you can use it for infographics. You can use it for authorities, sort of influencer type people, like I mentioned with the Whiteboard Friday example. You can use it for your own content once you get it onto an authority site, and if you can't get it onto an influencer site, then you can buy them, okay? We will cover that next week, where you can buy them. We can buy them for quite a reasonable price as well, and you can get some really, really good inbound links doing it that way. And I can't remember now what the fourth one was going to be there. I think I've probably covered it, but I found this plugin the other day for the follow and the no follow links, and I was very, very curious this morning how other people are doing that. So I did take a look at Search Engine Land, I think it was, or was it Moz, and I wanted to see, with the amount of links, the anchor text links that they've got going out on their articles, I wanted to see how many of those were going to be no follow, and surprisingly it was none. It was absolutely none. But I found a plugin the other day, and it's not it costs about $50 or something like that to buy it, and it's called Link Patrol. Okay, it's a really, really good plugin, and what you can do is you can just site-wide decide which ones to follow and no follow from all your outbound links. I'll just show you quickly when it loads up, but it seems my computer is really slow. But it was really interesting, because when I did look at it, they had a ton of outbound links, really a lot, and they're sitting there at #1 or something for the keyword on-page SEO. And when you go and look at it, when you look at the source code and the page source, they've got absolutely no follow links in there at all. It's all do follow, which I found really, really interesting. So that's what Moz are doing. Just scan this one, and what you will see here is it will give me all the outbound links on my site. Okay, if I click over here to domain reports, this one cost, I think it was about $50. And actually, we were building something like that. If you remember, a few days ago, we gave out the footer links plugin. I'd actually spoke to my coder and said to him, I want to build something very, very similar to this into the footer links plugin, so that they can go and find all the sort of links that they've got. So this gives me site-wide all the outbound links I've got on my site. Okay, and they can simply come over here, and I can choose which ones to follow and no follow. So, for example, I've got Zaxter buy buttons and JVZoo buy buttons. I don't want to follow those, but until I had made them no follow, I had 41 outbound links that would do follow, and of course that's going to damage your SEO. So that can harm your on-page SEO efforts. It's a very, very good plugin, but if you don't want to pay $50 for it, wait about 10 days and we will have our version of this within the footer links plugin that will do exactly the same as this, almost exactly the same as this, so you can save some money there, within 2 weeks. All right. So the outbound links, I think it's really important to do a mix, and the way I would do it is I wouldn't make everything no-follow. Maybe Moz can get away with it because they're such an authority site within their particular niche. For us, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So what I would suggest you do is you make just one outbound link, and you make that outbound link highly relevant. Don't always think about the Wikipedia stuff. Try and think outside the box. Use things like BuzzSumo. Go and find the most shared posts, the most interesting posts. Give a user value as well. And you can also consider the infographics and the sort of outbound video links as well. It's still an outbound link, okay? And it still works the same way, whether you're using as an image or whether you're using a video or whether you're using your own content that's curated somewhere else, okay? Okay, so for internal link building, okay, now this is really good. I like this. There's a plugin I use every single time, and some people will have seen me use this in the past. It's a plugin here called Entice. I just click in here, and if you search anything on the web, so for example, I want to do on-page SEO, I can search on my blog, and it's going to give me a sort of list of the most relevant kind of blog posts that I've got. And you can choose from there, and all you have to do is basically highlight the particular anchor text that you want to use and click over here, and it will add it in, okay? But it's also very, very good and quick way to go and find videos. So if I click for videos in here, it's going to give me a bunch of videos that you can just input using this particular way, and you can find some really quick content that you can put in there, and you can use that for your outbound links. But I like to use this one for internal links. Okay, it just helps me find immediately without me having to scramble about. Okay, other ways to use your internal links is with things like plugins like nRelate. If I scroll down the bottom down here, this plugin here is called nRelate. Okay, you can see that my pages have not got the featured images in here yet, but it will give you relevant posts that are just underneath the content that you've just created, okay? And I find that one really, really good. And there's another plugin that I bought the other day, and you don't have to actually do anything with it. It's just simply called Silo plugin, which is really good because it's just basically taking the category stuff, it's taking your tags, and it's putting the most relevant content together in a logical way, and that you can be able to just build a silo in the background. It's not building a silo structure like the way you would do it manually, where you would have maybe a category and 3 or 4 articles, and then you might have some supporting articles underneath it. But it's doing some stuff to build that internal linking for you on autopilot without being spammy at all. It's a very, very good plugin actually, and you can find it. I think it's siloplugin.com. You can find that one. Okay, so that's what I'd recommend for your internal linking, just to make sure that it's really good, because it is very, very important these days, the internal linking stuff. Okay, so I think we can bring Sean in just a few minutes. Robert, is there any more questions coming in?
Okay, there's a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Can you put the video at the top of the page and then the bullet points? Patrick is asking.
Yeah, you can do that if you want to. Do it the way you want to. I mean, the way that I've structured this is basically, yeah, you can put the video instead of an image if that's what you mean. When I've normally got a blog post inside this particular theme, what I find is, if this thing wasn't here in the way, what I find is I've got this headline, okay, and then I've got the social media buttons here. And then if I put in just, my subheadline, it's all condensed, it's all kind of cramped in together. That's why I like to use the image immediately, okay? Just basically your image can tell a lot, but you can do the same with videos with the thumbnail, with a very, very good thumbnail. There's no reason why you can't. It's just a very, very quick way to get your main keyword in very early as well, and your alt text and plus you're backing it up with your H2, and plus you're backing it up immediately with you know, the first sentence in your first paragraph here. Okay, but the bullet points are really key to this whole strategy, I think.
Elaine is asking about that plugin again. Sailor plugin, she says. Is that what it is?
Silo plugin. Siloplugin.com. Yeah, I think I paid about $55 or something.
Okay, that's all for the questions.
All right. Okay, so let's bring in Sean. I'm just going to unmute you, Sean. Let's see if we can get you in here. Let's unmute you. You should be able to say hello, I think, now.
Yeah, hello, Tony.
Hi. We've got an echo in the background. So what I'll do is I'll let you just talk about your article optimization. So if you can tell people what you actually include in your article optimization, the stuff that you're doing for the keyword research and stuff like that, or how people can submit their content, and how you sort of turn that into an article, the time it takes to deliver it to them and stuff like that, so we don't have this echo in the background all the time.
Okay. You want me to tell people how to order articles?
Yeah, tell them a little bit about how you optimize the articles, and basically what happens in the order process. And we will put the article optimization offers into the Anthony Hayes Me blog tonight.
Okay. Well, you covered it pretty well in your talk about at the beginning of the webinar when you're talking about optimizing your various posts and pages. But one of the things that, well, it's old hat now, and probably people are probably aware of it, is that I never optimize a post or page for a single keyword phrase or a single keyword. What I normally do when I do my research, I'll select perhaps 30 or 40 keywords, LSI keywords using various keyword tools. Keyword Planner is as good as any. And I will then do further research on them, and I will use probably 10 of those within a page or a post. And I'll optimize them in such a way, as you mentioned before, with bullet points, and use them throughout the article, depending on how many words are in the article. I rarely post make a page any less than 1,000 words. Most of the time 1,500 to 2,000. Does that sort of help?
Yeah. Okay, so if people are ordering articles from you, what do they need to give you?
Okay, basically what they need to do is, just a second, I'll bring up my notes here.
You want me to switch
Okay,
screen?
what they need to do... No, I'm fine. I've got two monitors here, so it's fine.
Okay.
What they need to do is to indicate, first of all, how many words they want for the article. They can send that. They can send the file. They need to send me an attached file, and what I normally do is operate through Facebook. So you'd have to find me on Facebook, send me a PM or send me a friend request, and then I'll get back to you with more information. But basically what they need to do is to, first of all, as I said, give me the number of words they require for the article, list their keywords straight up and down the page, preferably with bullet points with the main keyword at the top, and possibly bold that or just let me know that it's the main keyword. Mention if they want meta descriptions written, but be aware that if meta descriptions are included, they do become part of the word count. So there's a set price structure for the number of words. You know, there's a set price for 1,500 words, 2,000 words, 500 words, and so on and so forth. After they send me the file as an attachment, it must be an attached file, and it must be an attached file that I can save onto my hard drive and send to my team. So there's no point in putting things like prices in or or signing it with your name or anything like that, because it's completely irrelevant. Once they send me that file, at the same time they'll have to go to my PayPal account and submit the funds into my PayPal account, which I can provide to them at the time. Once I receive that, I then take the attached file, I send it to my team, I allocate it or assign it to a team member, whoever's most versed in that particular topic, and they get to work straight away. Now, the time for delivery varies depending on a couple of things. Depends on how much research the actual writers have to do, and they're very, very, they really go into that. They do a lot of research themselves, but the more information you can provide, the better, obviously. It also, the delivery time also depends on what sort of workload we've got on at the time. Normally, for say for an order, the average order is say for 5 articles. 5 articles, let's say for example 1,000 words, will take roughly 7 working days. I say working days because the writers don't work weekends. So for example, if you order submit an order on a Thursday, the actual day count wouldn't start until the Friday, and that would be 5 days of the following week, and you'd probably get it on the following Monday. So just keep in mind that it's actually working days.
Okay, I think
that's about it, really. It's very simple.
I think you covered it pretty well there. But if you listen closely there, guys, you will find that Sean is doing very, very similar to what I've just described. Sean, would you mind to unmute? Oh, let me unmute you, actually. And I'll just, because we got that echo in the background for some reason. We were talking to Sean before the webinar and it was happening then too. So I'll just unmute you there, Sean. Basically, Sean is doing exactly what I've been covering with the keywords and the modifiers and stuff like that, okay? And, you know, he really does get those articles done very, very well. They're not too expensive. What we're going to do is we're going to put some options into the AnthonyHayes.me site tonight. There will be a new section appearing tonight called SEO Services, and we'll give you options just to purchase direct from him at a lower price, or you can get some additional SEO done from us as well, which of course is going to cost a little bit more, but I'll give you both options, and that way you can be able to get some articles and stuff done. But Sean's prices are really, really great value. You can find, for example, you know, places like iHire writers and stuff like that, you can find articles for really, really cheap. They are not done in the same way that he does them, okay? They're really not the same quality. If you want to do properly optimized articles but you don't know how to, or you don't have time to, or you just want to get people to do them for you anyway, then it's a very, very good option. Sean, I just want to bring you in quickly again and talk about what would the price be for a 1,000 article, sort of a 1,000 word article. I'll just unmute you again.
Okay, you can hear me, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay. I can give you a list of prices for articles ranging from 500 to 3,000 words, if that's helpful.
Yeah, if you just talk for it.
Okay, well, 500 words is $8. 700 words is $9.50. 1,000 words is $12. 1,500 words is $16. 2,000 words is $20. 2,500 words is $24. 3,000 words is $28. We'll also do press releases for $8 per 500 words.
Wow.
Now, if you need articles more than that, if you need a blown out article of say 5,000 words, just contact me. Let me know, and I'll give you an individual price on that particular order.
All right, I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to mute you again, Sean, just for a second. Guys, did you hear that? Press release is $8. You've got no excuse not to do press releases. You've got absolutely no. You've got, with mass media SEO, you've got really cheap way to do press releases. If you even don't know how to write them, you can get them done for as low as $8. I mean, that's crazy, crazy price. And it's optimized like this, okay? This is really, really great value. Okay, so there's no reason why not. And I think Sean mentioned a 3,000 word article for $28. You've got the basics of a good report that you can give away. So if you wanted to create a really good piece of content, okay, like we're going to build out this week with this particular piece of content I'm working on right now, you could have a really nice sort of white label report that you can give out. You can even have it sort of, if you're using some tools, I forget the name of the tool. There was one where you could put your opt-in form into the PDF so that when people try to open it, that they would need to opt in. I think we've actually even got something like that with the Doc Traffic Commando plugin, which we haven't released yet. I'll need to follow through on that one. But there are tools out there where you can put an opt-in form into a PDF as well, so that you can just give them a direct download for that PDF inside your particular article, and for $28 to get 3,000 word report, you know, that's a fantastic price. You could even do it at, you know, $5 WSO with that kind of thing. So I mean, that's incredible value for the amount of work that goes into this. You know, and I know for a fact how much work goes into this kind of stuff, because by the time you've done all your planning and stuff over here, when you've found those kind of keywords and your modifiers and stuff like that, and it's perfect for the Web 2.0 Commando stuff as well at that kind of price. All right, Robert, we got any more questions before we finish up?
Okay. Elaine would like to know if she can have an image and a video in her press release.
Image and a video in your press release, I think that's a question more for you, for the mass media.
Right. Yes, the image and video you can go ahead and just add to mass media when you get your press release from Sean. And do we do the keywords, or does Sean do that, Elaine is asking?
No, Sean is not doing the keywords. You need to do that yourself. If you follow what we've been teaching over the last sort of month or 6 weeks, you know, when we started to do the blog, going back to the blog network stuff, we started getting into the article creation stuff at that point, and we looked at the group keywords, and we followed through with the Web 2.0 Commando and stuff with the modifiers and the keywords and the locations and stuff like that. If you follow that, you will find very, very easily and very, very quickly a whole bunch of stuff that you can use as well. It's not that hard to do. It's really not that hard to do. I like using tools like Jaxie. It's just super simple to do. Okay. If I go into, let me show you something here for the saved lists. I'll give you some better examples. This one costs $49 a month, but to me it's worth it. I just keep coming back to it every single time. It's a pity that it's a monthly cost. But if I go in here for let me see, social media SEO, for example, if I just click on the view here, you know, it's given me a whole bunch of stuff that I can just within 5 minutes go and find modifiers and go and find, you know, 3 or 4 keywords. I can sort by the traffic, I can sort by the sort of easiness, being able to rank. If you want to choose the ones that are easy to rank, it's fine. You will start ranking for multiple keywords as long as you're doing the correct backlinking stuff, and with the, you know, with the sort of generic anchor text, and you're getting sort of highly relevant links and things like that. You should be able to rank for these kind of keywords. And don't forget that these build up. You know, if it's got a search volume of 142 a month and you're getting traffic of 25, but if you combine that with all of these, where we've got 47, 35, 25, that's the estimated traffic from being on page 1. You know, it quickly builds up. Okay, so you can be, you know, you can really use this kind of information in a strategical way, where you're not going for the big keywords, okay, where it might be harder to rank, although I would still put them in there, would sprinkle them into the article anyway, but you can go for other ones that are quite easy to do. Okay, look at this one, marketing, internet, social media tips, SEO. I mean, that would have to be kind of broken up with commas or whatever, but you could actually find a way to fit that kind of thing in. I think it's great value. A press release is $8, guys. Seriously, there's no excuse not to do press releases at that price when you're getting this kind of quality of optimization. Any other questions there, Robert?
And Brian is asking if you have any samples of the press releases. And he's asking also if he is actually submitting the press releases. Now, you will get the copy of the press release he writes for you, then you can submit it yourself through mass media, Brian.
Yeah, on the webinar we did the other day from mass media when we did 2 webinars. Robert did one about writing press releases. I've still got to get that onto the site, and we need to get it into the mass media blog. But we did cover what we are trying to do there. We're trying to make it as easy as possible, that all you need to do is you can send in your press release. So for example, if you order from Sean and you sent it into our support, which we need to provide a new support email for, so that will accept attachments, and you just put in your username, then we can check that you've still got an active account, and we've got a full-time assistant who will do all that fiddly parts for you of filling in all the details. But we will need some things, you know, inside your mass media SEO account that will tell us, you know, the company name and all that kind of stuff. But we will kind of look into that and trying to make it as easy as possible. The reason we're taking these extra steps is really because that strategy works. Press releases really do work, and we know that the stuff that we're working on in the background for the SEO side. So we've taken a full-time assistant from Mass Media SEO. She will be doing all that kind of stuff for you to make it really easy. Then you've got absolutely no excuse. And on top of that as well, then she will be doing some additional SEO stuff on every single press release. Okay, she'll be using things like Social Bookmark Commando. She will be doing some SEO on your video. If you've submitted a video from YouTube, she will be doing some SEO on your video too. Okay, nice SEO. I don't mean anything too crazy that you might find on Fiverr.com, but stuff that is relevant, like adding to a playlist, stuff that is relevant, like adding a couple of comments and getting Google Plus shares, good things. Okay, so that she will be adding those kinds of things for every single press release video that comes in. Okay, so if you added a video, then those kind of things will be done as well. And plus then we will do a little bit more aggressive stuff on email wire when that press release URL comes up on there, because you know, that site's been around for quite a long time, and they can take a lot of links and sort of quick the speed of links, the link velocity, they can handle it. Okay, so there's additional stuff being done as well. So you know, at the end of the day, you've got really low cost premium press releases. You can get the writing done from Sean for as little as $8. And plus all that SEO stuff built in the background as well, and you don't even need to fill in the fiddly parts of the back end of mass media SEO, where you have to fill in all those form fields and stuff like that. So we're making it as easy as possible for you.
Elena is asking if there's any additional cost for our assistant to optimize her press release.
No. We hired her specifically to be able to, you know, make mass media as good as we possibly can make it. You know, I've said from the outset, we might not be able to match Newswire and distribution and, you know, the authority they've got right now, but we can take control of things that we're able to take control of, and, you know, that's going to be there permanently. I'm not taking that away. I want to make it as easy as possible for you to use press releases in an affordable manner to get some, you know, massive SEO benefits.
Okay, Patrick is asking, when using articles for IFTTT strategy using Tumblr and Blogger, do the articles need to be keyword specific or niche specific? For example, if I'm promoting vitamin C, do all of my articles need to be related to vitamin C or just health?
What I would do in that situation, Patrick, is, you know, I would do the keyword research. I would go into the planner. So, for example, if you're doing for vitamin C, let's just do it and see what comes up. Just click on get ideas here, see what comes up.
Dave is asking how we make links in the PDF clickable.
I think that doesn't automatically happen. What I usually do if I'm doing a PDF is write it in Word and then save as a PDF, and the links are usually still clickable. Just put in here vitamin C. Is that your niche, Patrick, vitamin C? Is that something you want to, or you want to give me a different keyword? Tell me now while I'm here.
Turmeric, Patrick says.
Sorry?
Turmeric, T-U-M-E-R-I-C.
Oh, turmeric. That yellow stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, turmeric. Okay, so look. First thing you can see here is when you go into the ad group ideas, you can see here what Google is telling. Let Google optimize for you. Let Google tell you how to optimize. Turmeric health. Benefits of ginger. Okay, so you could have one about, you know, turmeric health. You could have another one about benefits of ginger. Turmeric supplements could be another one. So that's 3 articles, and it's taken less than 10 seconds to be able to find them. Okay, turmeric capsules, turmeric powder, that could be sort of combined into one. You know, this kind of thing you can find. So there's benefits for arthritis, obviously, and there's some things about cancer as well, so you can make an article from that. And basically, Google is telling you how to optimize your article. So for the benefits of ginger, basically we can just click down here and we can, you know, grab all of those and use the modifiers for this. And that's the sort of thing that you want to get into your articles. I mean, how long did that take to find out? And who optimized my content or your content? Google did. Simple as that. Really, 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 really simple. We don't have to, you know, overcomplicate things. I like to use tools like Jaxie because it's giving me things like this. I'm kind of lazy. I like to get them the little green spots here. Not always they're going to be 100% accurate. Sometimes you're looking at a keyword and it comes up green and you're thinking there's absolutely no way that's going to be easy. But, you know, it's just a guideline, and it's able to sort of organize my keywords and save the ones that I want and get rid of the ones I don't want. So I like to use tools like this, but Google Keyword Planner is a fantastic tool, and I don't care what people say even after the last change. I like to be able to use this particular strategy where it's giving you 5 articles here within 30 seconds.
Okay, there's everybody's saying that's all very helpful, and they're looking forward to your plugin in a few weeks that you spoke of.
Yeah, that plugin is going to be awesome, really awesome. It will be very, very similar to Link Patrol, but just for the avoidance of doubt, I'm not copying them. It's actually something. We've had that plugin for it was the very first product I did as far as software kind of thing, and that was more than 2.5 years ago. And we have got, you know, we had built in some elements of that, but I wanted to take it further. When I saw the Link Patrol one, it's something that I needed at the time because I didn't want my assistants to have to go through and do all the no-follow stuff for every single link that I didn't want. So, you know, when I saw that one, I bought it immediately because, you know, it was an immediate need. But again, be very, very careful, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. If you get some people to do anything on your site, you need to manage them properly, or better than what I did, because I gave myself a huge mess now that I've got to go and clean up. Anyway, this article, you will probably see it keep getting built out. I kind of want to try and get through as much as I can, even after the webinar today, and get rid of some of this stuff and reformat it. So check back a little bit later, maybe tomorrow morning your time if you're in America, and hopefully you know, I've got it almost completed by then, and it will become a really, really good resource. And what I will do is I'll put the social locker in there, and we will do the 21 points checklist in a PDF. And once I've got my checklist in the PDF, I'm going to order an infographic. Okay, and I'll tell you where you can get some infographics ordered as well. Really, really good ones that are affordable. They're not cheap, but they are affordable. Okay, and those are great for being able to get some content distributed. Now, after next week's webinar, what we will do is we will talk about the blogging promotion stuff, and not necessarily just SEO, but we will cover some stuff that I have done for this particular blog post that I'm working on right now by then, and hopefully we will be able to have a really good case study at the same time. So that's about 2 weeks from now. Okay. Let me just ask a question before we go. Do you want the week 2 webinar for this one, for the on-page SEO, to be during the week this week or next Sunday? For the part 2, sorry, not the week 2, the part 2. I've got some free time during the week. I can do one maybe on Thursday, for example, with this article completed. or we can do it next Sunday, so I'll let you decide. So you can put it in the question box. Yes for Thursday and no for Sunday.
It looks like more people are asking for Sunday than Thursday. Though it is about half and half.
Okay. Okay. Sean, you get the deciding vote. Since you're our guest today, I'm going to give you this. You get the deciding vote. We got half and half. Thursday or Sunday?
Sunday, I think, Tony.
All right, mate. There we go.
I have a couple of people asking for Sean's information too.
Yeah, we will put Sean's information into the Google Doc, okay? So maybe check there in a few minutes. But Sean, what's your Facebook ID?
I'll put it in the chat box, Tony.
There we go. That's to organizers and panelists, so I'll transfer it. There it is. Okay, just a moment. There. All right, are you still here, Tony? Sounds like we lost Tony.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I didn't realize I'd muted myself. I'm just saying that I was actually talking to myself. I'm just saying that using Google Slides, yeah, this is from Google as well. It's just a theory, but I'm guessing, you know, if I'm putting links into my blog post that's specific to this particular slide, I'm getting a link from Google as well, if you see what I mean. And plus here you can, you know, you've got all those keywords in here, you know. So if you put a link to be able to go, and, you know, to your page, and in theory, it could be beneficial. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, we'll cover those kind of things in week 3. All right, so next Sunday we'll do another webinar. I might do another one during the week for something else then, because I want to keep up the training stuff. The reason is that, you know, too often I'll say, well, we need to I'll get a video done on this or get a video done on that. I never seem to get time, but when I commit to doing a webinar, it sort of forces to get it done, okay? That's why I like to just to do so many of them. Anyway, Sean, thank you for your time. Thanks for the great offer. I'm sure they will really appreciate the quality of the articles. They will definitely appreciate the prices, especially for press releases. Robert, thanks very much again for helping with the questions and things. Guys, thanks for attending. If you want to give us some feedback inside the Facebook groups and things like that, or give us some comments underneath, and check back in this article a little bit later. It will look completely different, and it should be pretty much finished if I spend the next sort of 4 or 5 hours on it and get it really maxed out as best as it can be. And we'll do part 2 next Sunday. Anyway, thank you. See you later. Bye.
Good night.
Night.